So I actually moved down the ridge a ways and skied into it, made 3-4 turns maybe, and I was coming left, and I heard the boys yelling, "Avalanche, avalanche."
Oh, now it's ripping bigger. Secondary. Okay, eyes, everybody eyes. Beacon, skis. Coming, hang fire!
Where is he? You see him out?
Why?
And it just came over my head, and I just felt it like kind of like push me down. And then I came around, and I was still up, and I was like swam, and then it just slowed way down, and just like they said, you know, full concrete. Luckily, my head was out, and I was breathing. It could have been worse, though. It could have been a much deeper avalanche, and I was super lucky.
Another guy traversed in above him, and all the snow started to slide. So I went to arrest myself, and before I knew it, I couldn't arrest myself. I was in the air. And he had pretty much flown over a, 50, 60-foot cliff. Figured I was dead.
It's getting late, let's get to bed. Maybe sleep can clear my head. Things look better through a glass of champagne, but in the morning, it still feels the same.
I am a Salt Lake City-based professional skier, so free ride skiing, big mountain, mostly in the pursuit of powder. On a big storm day, after the resort kind of gets checked out a little bit, it's so easy to venture into the side country now. You just get dropped off right at the top of the mountain, it's just on the other side of the gate. But the side country is just like the back country, and it's easier to get into like way gnarlier avalanche terrain because you don't have to hike to it, you just ride a lift. And so, especially on those days, it's really important that everyone is equipped with their beacon probe, shovel, and the knowledge to use them.
I get a good feeling, yeah.
In 90% of avalanche accidents, they're triggered by the victim or somebody in the victim's party. And that's actually good because avalanches are not a matter of chance, they're a matter of choice. We can avoid them if we want to. It's easy to see why a third of the people that get killed in avalanches get killed by trauma, by hitting trees and rocks on the way down. I mean, it's a very violent event. When the avalanche finally comes to a stop, it just instantly sets up like concrete. I mean, you can't even hardly move your little finger. In other words, you can't dig yourself out of an avalanche. Your friends have to dig you out.
Today, an aerial and ground search for 3 young men.
Why don't you go ahead and head on up.
Rod Newberry, Adam Mertz, and Mike Herbert were snowboarding in the wilderness when the avalanche hit.
We made it a little past halfway. We
We turned and looked down and thought about boarding down, and we really should have after what happened, but we figured if we hiked the rest of the way up, it'd be that much better of a run.
Their families are devastated.
These are good kids that grew up and loved life, loved to be outside. They played hard, and yeah, it's a great tragedy.
Rescuers say this search is really difficult because the avalanche itself was 3 city blocks wide, and in some places the snow is 14 feet deep.
A lot of people think that avalanches is just a bunch of loose snow sliding off the mountain. And yeah, that's an avalanche, but the kind of avalanche that kills people, what we call slab avalanches, when a cohesive plate of snow slides off the mountain as a unit. It shatters like a pane of glass, and then suddenly you're off for the ride of your life.
Even if I'm skiing low angle terrain, I want to make sure that there's no bigger slopes that are avalanche prone areas above or adjacent to me.
Get educated is the biggest thing. Get out there, get your avalanche courses, get the proper equipment, probes, beacons, shovels, and know how to use all that stuff.
For me as a guide, it helps me to get these guys in here and see what I'm talking about in these weak layers, rather than me kind of always being the messenger. It's another thing when they get in here and see it and feel it. Now they know, okay, they see what he's talking about. This is a weak layer. I don't want to ski that. It's a whole different thing when I tell them versus when they see it for themselves.
The equipment just keeps getting better and better. Snowmobiles, skis, snowboards, snowshoes, climbing equipment, and it's allowing more and more people to get farther and farther into the backcountry. It seems like every 5 years there's twice as many people in the backcountry. People keep getting into bigger and steeper avalanche terrain all the time.
We live in a culture of go big or go home. And I think that pushes people, encourages people to do things that they wouldn't ordinarily do, and consequently we get in trouble.
March 1st, 2009 this year was one of the worst days of my life, probably the worst experience I ever had with snowmobiling. A good buddy of mine and a hell of a rider, Matt Potratz, ended up in a big avalanche. Where I was sitting, it looked like the whole hill broke loose in about 10 to 15 foot high shelves.
I've been up that chute probably 15, 20 times, and I've never seen that mountain slide before.
We all whipped out our beacons, and not too long after that, Corey said, "Hey, I think I see his hand." We all dove downhill and just started digging.
I went through a lot of impact on that hill, and a lot of, in fact, my body went through so much trauma that I was actually in a coma for 40 days. I did end up suffering a broken femur and broken ribs and a broken neck. So I'll have one more surgery, it'll be my 3rd surgery, to try to repair nerve damage to my arm. And so we just hope that goes well and just pray that goes well. And if I can get my arm back, I want to get back on the sled.
Knocking on heaven's door.
So there's plenty of air in the snow to breathe. That's not the problem, but the problem is that the carbon dioxide builds up in the snow around your mouth. It's like breathing into a paper bag. You pass out really quickly, and you also die very quickly underneath the snow.
Going skiing in the backcountry, I need to have my avalanche transceiver. Most importantly, I need to know how to use it. And in addition, you need to have your shovel and you need to have your probe. Those are key ingredients to venturing into the backcountry.
There's a lot of new avalanche tools out that can help you. Things like Avalon and airbags.
The Reco device is implanted in some of the clothing, which allows patrol, especially OB at a resort.
These things are all great and great to have, but they don't secure your safety either.
And don't overstep your boundaries. If you feel like you're pushing it too far, then you probably are.
The past 10 to 15 years or so, we've seen a huge increase in snowmobile technology. The stock sleds that are out right now will go places and do things that the modified machines of just 5 or 6 years ago couldn't even do. As a result, we're pushing the boundaries every year and getting into more and more dangerous terrain. And what that means is sometimes our riding skills and our machine's performance get ahead of our avalanche skills.
Of what we knew of the conditions, we knew we weren't going to be climbing like crazy all day long, but I wanted to get one good climb in just for the excitement of it.
I knew exactly what Trace was going to do. I had the video camera, so I thought it'd be perfect. You know, why not film him going up a completely untouched hill, high mark, first tracks, it's perfect. That's what it's all about.
Got about 2/3 of the way up and I saw a crack and I knew I created an avalanche, you know, and it was like a big ocean wave and all of a sudden it just stopped and he disappeared in it.
And by the time I pan out and realize this thing is it's huge. It's broken all the way across the ridge. The biggest fear for me was that we were both buried.
I did not know if I'd see my buddy alive again, you know.
I remember feeling my chest being rubbed and smacked like kind of vigorously. I was extremely lucky. Every morning before I go riding, I'm going to call, I'm going to find out what I need to know.
When you're looking at avalanche terrain, the most important thing, of course, is slope steepness. How steep is that slope? Between 35 and 45 degrees is where almost all avalanches occur. So that's the good news. The bad news is that that's exactly the kind of slopes that we like to recreate on, is between 35 and 45 degrees. That's like a black diamond slope at a ski area.
Inside of the ski area boundaries, the ski patrollers knock down the avalanches every morning before people arrive, so they make it very, very safe inside of ski area boundaries. When you step outside of a ski area boundary, when you go across that magic little rope line, I mean, you're stepping into the Stone Age. There's nobody out there doing any avalanche control. You have to be your own avalanche expert.
We often feel too good. I mean, we kind of lose sight of the hazards out there, and we kind of feel this euphoria and this great feeling. So what we need to do is step back, look at things objectively, and even though it's a beautiful day and we're having a great time, we can still get caught in an avalanche.
It was obvious what the danger was. We both knew it. Our first sign of widespread instability was actually coming up. We had 2 large collapses. Everything else had pretty much slid during the storm. So Zach had taken probably about three more steps, and all of a sudden, just this huge collapse. I noticed he went straight into a stand of trees, but the snow just broke right through him. First thing I did was freak for about 5 seconds. I just freaked out. I'm like, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. We're almost home. As soon as I get a signal, it's like instant relief. I grab my shovel and start to dig. I can see his hand sticking out, and I grabbed his hand right away and squeezed it and didn't feel anything. And that's a big, you feel it in your chest right away. It's tough. You don't, at that point that it's not gonna happen. He's not coming back. So that's the worst part. No matter how much training you have with your beacon, with your rescue gear, if you never get in the slide, then you're safe.
Avalanches can happen on the first guy or the third guy or the 10th guy down, so you need to be aware of what's happening.
You can ride the backcountry your whole life and make 1,000 good calls, but you make one bad call and it's too many, so you can never let your guard down out there.
Before I even consider going out into the backcountry, I want to take a basic avalanche awareness class and get Avy savvy.
Poison till you're nearly old enough to vote for him. They turn
Chris Coulter. Just want to let you know every time I head out into the mountains, I'm checking my local avalanche advisory.
Conditions are changing, or if one person in your group isn't feeling it, it's good just to be able to walk away from it, because the mountain will always be there.